It's Friday night, 7 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock my time. But welcome back to Catching Up with KJ. This is episode number 7. And let's go ahead and get this party started. Let me take a look at the chat room. I think there's already some people in there. And there is. Just the gospel. First thing I read. I think KJ is drinking beers or something when he always goes AFK. And let's see. Well, there's a few people in there. It's a good guess. I mean, not beer. I'm more of a wine person myself. But, I try not to drink a whole lot of wine when I'm doing these shows. You got to try to keep your head as clear as possible. But I am human and I need to take little restroom breaks from time to time. So, I do need to take a break. Plus, I talk a lot on this show. Sometimes I just get to rambling and going and I got to kind of wet the old whistle. So anyway, I'm hoping you guys can hear me. It looks like we got a few of you coming around, which is cool. So welcome back. Oh, hi, Wolfstein. How you doing? Tetsuo, what's up? Okay, we're seeing some people here. I've got a few things I want to show you guys, man. There's some things that happened this week. And hey, Edmund. Hi, everybody. There's some things that happened this week I'm going to cover a little bit. As always, in the chat section, you all do what you do. And a lot of times, of course, feel free to ask me anything. And I'll kind of navigate through there and find the questions as we go throughout the show and just kind of answer what I can the best I can. But I want to show you a couple stories I've been looking at just over the past week. And we're just going to try to cover a lot of different things like we always do here. So let me go and see if I can get this thing set up to where it spins around and shows you what I'm looking at. It's called the old screen share. And let's see here if I can find it. There it is. And I'm going to see if I can't turn this around and show you guys this. I want to try to show you a video. That looks like it's not going to go. Anyway, I guess I'll just go ahead and see if I can't play this. Like I said, I'm not the greatest at this whole Google chat thing as far as figuring out all the wacky technology here, but you do your best. Anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and jump into a couple things then. So let me just go ahead and pull these up. A couple stories I wanted to talk to you about. All right. Anyway, so like I said, welcome back, guys. It's been a crazy week, man. Everything really is moving just so fast. I mean, more and more shootings, right? More and more events. And, we got this latest. I say latest, and like I said, I mean, it's every 2 or 3 days, it seems like now there's a new shooting. I guess this new one is the John Russell Hauser. You've probably heard about this shooting. It's the guy that shot up the movie theater. And, first thing when I saw that, it was interesting because I'm actually working on a video. It should be up tomorrow. It's just kind of showing you a lot of these events that have taken place, whether they're false flags, hoaxes, whatever, because I think it's a mix. And I'm going to show you that. It really is a mix. I mean, not everything's fake. I see a lot of people pushing that idea. It's all fake. Nothing's real. I see that, man. You're going to go crazy if you think like that. Everything's made up, I mean, that's cuckoo talk. I'm telling you, man, it's going to make you go bonkers if you think that nothing is real. You have no grasp on reality. Some of this stuff happens, some people really do get hurt. And, a lot of this stuff is mind control, of course. I mean, there's definitely something up with this stuff. It's not just naturally happening that every week or so we're having a couple new shootings or whatever. I mean, when you really lay it out, and that's kind of what I'm doing in this new video, and I'll put it up on the channel tomorrow or probably the next day. I mean, you can just see the different agendas taking place, and we've covered a lot of these things already. We know the race war they've been trying to push, and that's been brewing up now for quite a while. And now we have this. There's always interesting connections with these things too, with these events. And oftentimes you can literally find Illuminati symbolism all around this stuff. And so it's another thing I'll be showing you in the video because there's a lot of that. But then this one right here, this John Russell Hauser shooting in a movie theater. Interesting, right? Because we're almost on the anniversary of the Aurora shootings. And I believe that's back in the news now too. I just heard something a few days ago about it. I guess they're going to, I don't want to say he's up for arraignment. That's the wrong word. I was going to say he's up for judgment. Either way, I know that he's coming back into court. Like that story is back in the news for something. I'm not entirely sure what, but I thought it was interesting. So now we have another shooting at the movie theater, right? And I'm sure some people have been doing videos on that. I haven't seen any videos yet covering this. I'll usually check out maybe Team Wake 'em Up. I've seen some of his. Free Radio does some of these kind of videos. Professor Doom does some of these videos. So, whenever I'm on YouTube, I'll usually try to see what's in the feed and check this stuff out. But I'm sure people are doing videos on this stuff because, like I said, man, it's just not going to stop. And of course, it's all lining up. Once again, Obama just came out a few days ago and was talking about taking your guns away again. It's always about the guns. That's what all this stuff's about, and it's just speeding up. I mean, it's really speeding up. I've been covering all this kind of stuff, covering what I do, which is a bit of everything now for years. I've been on YouTube for about 5, and outside of YouTube for 3 years, I was doing other stuff, just researching and whatever. So making movies, running websites. So I've always kind of been involved in looking at all this stuff, and it's just insane to me. I just don't remember a time it was like this. In the last couple of years, specifically the last year, it's gotten really bad, but it's just all the time now. And it always lines up. Lately now it's then Obama has to come out again and start talking about gun control, which is not gun control. I mean, there's all these rules and laws already on the books. They're just not enforced. And we know that they don't want gun control. They want to take your guns away. That's what it is. They want to disarm the American public, I guess, just to make it easier to put you away in a camp. And that's one of the things I wanted to show you. If I could figure out how to turn this video around here and show you what I'm looking at, but I couldn't. But you can look this guy up. His name is Wesley Clark. Wesley Clark. And he was on MSNBC recently, and he literally said that what the powers that be need to be doing is putting American citizens into internment camps, almost like Nazi style. The ones that he says, no, okay, well, again, that's the other part of the agenda we're seeing play out right now is they keep pushing this idea of domestic terrorists, right? Everybody's a domestic terrorist now in America. So that's part of that as well. And you see it all kind of lining up together and what they're ultimately trying to do. And they want to be able to label just anybody who goes against the government as a domestic terrorist. And they already have NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act, signed in, among many other things that are really bad for the American public. Basically, they can just come get you. No trial, no nothing. No one gets to know where you go, and they just take you away. I mean, this stuff's already signed on. I know everyone's waiting for the event, right? Because they're not really doing it yet. They're not putting people in camps yet. But we're seeing all this stuff come together. We're seeing this come out like in the way they talk. I did a Hillary Clinton video not long ago, and even in there, I put some audio from her in there where she's talking about we need fun camps in America, quote, fun camps for Americans, fun camps to put people in that disagree over politics so they can have a place to discuss these things. I mean, guys, you see what's happening, right? You get this. And then we have, it's General Wesley Clark. I don't know if he's still a general, but he was. This General Wesley Clark, like I said, is on MSNBC a couple days back and just talking about, these domestic terrorists, these fringe people and blah, blah, blah. Maybe we should put them in some kind of camps. We need to isolate them away from the rest of and I think even use the word normal, from the normal population, right? And the normal population in our community is the sheeple. And I hate that word, but it fits. But kind of the sheep, or those who aren't awake yet to what's going on, right? And many of these people are our own loved ones, right? People in our families, our friends, co-workers, neighbors. It's the majority of people don't get what's coming. They don't understand this, and that's just the way it is. But there's a lot of talk about that, right? So yeah, and he came out. It was right after the Chattanooga shooting, and that's whenever I said, like I said, Wesley Clark was saying we need to get these camps in order to put the people away. So the dialogue's out there, man, and these events just keep popping up. Let me jump over to the chat room here and just see what you guys are saying. Hi, guys. Oh, man, we got a nice crew here. Look at that. We got a lot of people. And let's see what we got here. We got someone saying you don't have to worry about losing your guns anymore. Oh, KG doesn't have to worry about it. Well, where I'm at, I don't think you're supposed to have guns out here either, man. This is more of a socialist kind of a setup out here. But out here, we got, I got machetes and things like that. So, hopefully I'll never have to use them on anybody. Let's see what else we got. This guy. There's this. I got my own little cheerleading squad of trolls that love to come around too. I guess we all have that now. Hi, Alicia. How you doing? I'm just reading through your comments here. Hey, Nate. Someone said, Nate said Professor Doom did a good video on that. All right, cool. I'll have to check the rest of that out. And that's one right there I was going to talk to you about too, is Michelle Obama. Vincent says, doesn't Michelle Obama look more confident since the surgery? But with all kidding aside, there are a couple stories I was going to talk about with Michelle Obama. I did some videos on her, or a video on her lunch program a while back, and you can find that on the main channel. But it's just amazing, just the display of power that these people are using. It's sickening, really. Michelle and the kids, of course, always going on these really extravagant vacations. Obama's basically golfing all the time, right? I mean, everything else seems to be running itself. So he's always golfing. They're always out on these extravagant trips, eating whatever they want. But then they're dictating, what we get to eat, or at least she's dictating what we get to eat. And I know it started with the kids in school, but this past week, a couple other stories came out about her, and I wanted to kind of pass that on to you. So let me open these up, and I'll just read it out to you here. All right, I'll do this one first. Like I said, so Michelle Obama got her man hands involved in your kids' school lunches, and there's been a huge backlash. I mean, it's basically nothing that these kids are getting to eat, and there's been a whole movement since then. I think it's called #ThinksMichelle or something like that, where all the kids been taking pictures of these just nothing, right? These plates with nothing on there, and tweeting it out. But anyway, here's the latest. This just happened a couple days ago, but Michelle Obama got some revenge on one of the schools that decided to drop her lunch. And apparently, the Grand Michelle has received powers from Obama that allow her the same dictatorial powers that he exercises on the American public. So her healthy school lunch program is now going to cost a school a major price for dropping it. And I'm just reading this from the article. This article's on the Daily Dose. So it says here, unfortunately, the Obama regime doesn't like it when people act against their will. And the school district is going to be paying a hefty price for doing so. How hefty? Well, they currently receive federal subsidies of $117,000 annually, which they'll be forfeiting for dropping Michelle Obama's lunch menus. So the school is losing money that goes to educating American children simply because they don't want to follow the horrid lunch program that Michelle forces on kids across the country. How is that right? How is that right? Better yet, why is it that this district is being punished? But of course, this is a right-wing website, so they have to throw this in, but which they have a point. But they say after that, but then these so-called sanctuary cities that house and protect illegal immigrants, including rapists, murderers, and drug dealers, get to keep the federal funding faucet wide open despite the fact they are breaking the law. That is a good point. So what kind of world is this where we have to lose money to get money? The lunches are crap, to put it kindly. And this guy is saying, get with it, Michelle. People can't afford to throw the food away. Let me just get to that. All right. So it's moving past that. Anyway, that's the deal. So basically what he's trying to say, this guy's basically a lot of it's throwing out his own ideas, I guess, on here. I should have found a different example. But you get the point. Basically, what's happening is any school that decides they don't want to force their kids to eat basically nothing, they get these federal subsidies held back. And that's a lot of money. And these schools need that money. I mean, I don't have kids, but at this point, and really for the last many years, I mean, I know it's hard out there for you parents. I know it's just, as far as having kids that are in school, I know it's hard because you don't have a lot of choices, I think. It's just the way that this beast system is set up. There's so many broken families and everything. People are always working. You got to try to pay them bills. It's just easier just to let your kids go to the public school. But it's so messed up, because the beast system, these public schools, they have more time with your children than you do. And really more during their formative years, so it's just, that's a big part of the problem. This is where a lot of this indoctrination is coming from. The kids are spending all their time in these public schools and having to deal with this stupid stuff. And like I said, the lunch thing, this is just one thing, but I mean, look at everything else, all the indoctrination they're doing with all these kids. It's unbelievable on every level, right? And I know a lot of, you don't have the money to homeschool, you can't keep them out. I get it. It's got to be frustrating, man. It frustrates me, and I don't have kids. Just, man, if I did, I don't know. I guess it's easier for me to say since I don't have them, but I'd be like, man, anything I could do to keep them out of school, public school. Public school is the worst. It's the worst. Big indoctrination centers. That's all it is, So there's one story on Michelle. I wanted to show you something else though that popped up I thought was interesting because now she's messing with the military. Here it is. I mean, I just did another video too called "Does the American Flag Even Matter Anymore?" And I kind of showed you some of the history of it, and I showed you why it really doesn't. There's a lot of hypocrisy around the American flag anyway. I mean, that's where we're at, man. So many people just don't get it. America's done. It's finished. Yeah, it's still there. Yeah, you can still go to your job. You still, order fast food. You do this. You rent movies. I mean, yeah, I know. I mean, there's a system there, but it's so collapsed and so over with, man. That's why these people are running ramshot and doing whatever they want to do because they know it just don't matter anymore. But still, so many people worshiping that flag, worship that American flag. Look, I served my country for 8 years active duty. Let me throw that out there too. It's not like I just hate America. I love America for what it used to be, at least when I was coming up. And yes, it was still, partially a beast system at that time as well. I mean, I guess it always has been to some degree, even though they say we were started on religious principles, and it was definitely a lot better a long time ago, right? But now it's just an overdrive, and the wickedness is just running rampant. It's all over the place, and it's obvious. I mean, it's so obvious, right? But that's why it just doesn't matter. This is why they're doing whatever they want to do. It doesn't matter. And all these people are putting all this faith in Trump. That's the other thing I keep seeing. All these people talking about Trump, like Trump's gonna save us, like Trump has a chance. I mean, he's interesting. I've seen some of the stuff he talks about. It's funny, but I just think it's all smoke and mirrors like everything else. I mean, the whole world's a stage. And I've told you guys for the last few years, I don't know for sure, but I've always kind of felt and thought that Obama will be America's last official, quote, president. And I've been saying that for a couple of years, just thinking out loud. That's, what I kind of see coming. Okay. Now, I mean, I could be wrong. And at this point, I hope I'm wrong, because if I'm right, that means that some event took place, because he's already signed in all this martial law legislation and all that stuff too. So everything, as far as the paperwork goes, it's all done. It's just like they're just waiting on the event. We're waiting on the event, whatever the event is going to be, to where he can take full control. But people just be talking about Trump. Trump's going to get in there. He's going to save America. I don't know, man. I saw a story a while back. You may have seen this too, but Trump got busted hiring an audience to clap and stuff for him when he was out there, putting on one of his shows and talking about whatever. And he got busted paying these people $50 a pop, to clap for him on camera. It's just, like I said, guys, man, this whole thing is just a show. It's a show. And that's why. And that whole left-right paradigm keeps people so upset over the Obamas, or the left so upset over Bush or whatever. And it's just so ridiculous, man, because they're all in it together. None of them care what you think anyway. They're gonna do what they want to do, which is the agenda, which is at this point collapsing America and really pulling us into a place where I don't want to say where we'll accept it, but we're going to have to get into a new world order system. And this is what they've been doing, is basically destroying our sovereignty. And it's going to happen. I'm not trying to be Alex Jones over here. I'm not trying to be, screaming and yelling and all that. And I know I'm real laid back about things and all that, but you got to be, man. I couldn't look at this stuff for 8 years now and do videos the way I do and research this stuff if I didn't take care of myself, like outside of YouTube, outside of my research. I spend a lot of time exercising. I'm at the beach. I get outside, I ride my bike, I get away, I read books that have nothing to do with this stuff. I research things on my own that are better for me just as a person and spiritual and things like that. I'm really strong in my faith, so that stuff's important. And what it is that's given me peace. I have peace. I have peace with all this stuff because I know where I'm going, and I know I'm going to be okay. I know I'm going to be okay no matter what. No matter how hard it might get, no matter how much we may have to see, I know I'm going to be all right, but that's me. And that's the important part too, man. You've got to have that, you've got to have that for yourself. You got to find that peace. And for me, it's my relationship with God. It's my belief in Jesus, of course. I'm no fan of organized religion. Most of you know that. And, people ask all the time, how do we fight back? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, I've talked about that in a lot of different ways, but one way is even just spiritually for yourself. And this isn't to sound all new agey, so bear with me on this, because I need to do a video on this as well. Because a lot of the new age religion, the theosophists and all these people, and Crowley and all these folks to a degree, they talk about, basically being your own God, which means, doing whatever you want to do and stuff like this. But then there is a spiritual Christian perspective of this, which I have, which is that, God made us, so there is a bit of God inside of us, right? I mean, right? Am I wrong here? God made us, so there's a bit of a God, not that not that we are our own gods, but there is a bit of God within us. And so when Jesus himself even said to his disciples and to us, I believe, by extension, that we will do all the things he did and more, right? And also there's the scripture in the Bible about what is it? I'm trying to think. It's the gosh, now I'm losing I had this. I need to write this stuff down. The something of heaven resides within. Help me out in the chat section, guys, because I had it earlier. I was just thinking about this. I don't want to say the temple of heaven resides within, but I know somebody's going to write it out there for me, which is cool. And let me look here and see. I'm not even watching my chat right now. I should probably see my chat for a second. So I'm trying to read these stories here to you. But you know me, man, I just start rambling off on different subjects. Let me get down here and see if somebody wrote this for me. Somebody said, yeah, this fellow man guy, you gotta just let him go, guys. This is another one of these trolls here. Just another one. He's always making new channels. There's so many of these people. That's what I don't get about some of you people, man. A lot of you try to say that you're truthers and Christians and all this, but you spend so much time not trying to, wake up the public, not trying to expose real evil. What you do is you chase after channels that are really doing the work. It's just weird, man. But I know you guys see it. You guys see these weird little trolls when they come around. So let me see. Just catch up with the comments here. The kingdom of heaven is within. Thanks, man. Thank you, all of you. A bunch of you said it. Thank you. The kingdom of heaven is within. So here's the way that I live in my spiritual life. Whenever I read, usually the red words in the Bible, and I read different parts of the Bible just for myself, when I study, but I really do try to follow Christ. I don't like the term Christian. Again, I've mentioned this. I've so many quote Christians, at least they call themselves Christians. I mean, they come at me hard on YouTube. You call yourself a Christian, and stuff like this. It's like, I'm not you. No, I'm not you. I'm an individual. I'm KJ. God made me. I have a job to do. I know that. It resonates with me. I understand what it is. And I try my best to follow Christ. I believe in God. Jesus is my savior and all, but I don't just say he's my savior and then leave it at that and then think, all right, come scoop me up before all the bad stuff happens. I literally try to follow his teachings and his way, and I try to find that within, and we all have that. And it can be a beautiful thing if you really start putting it to action. But again, this is why I don't like being called a Christian. It's kind of what I was going back to with these silly little trolls. A lot of these people, again, on YouTube call themselves Christians, and I don't see them do any real work, any good work. They're not really trying to expose the evil of the world or the beast system or the Illuminati and all this other stuff. All they're doing is trying to go after their accusers. They try to go after other channels and other YouTube people, not just me, a bunch of people, so this is what you see. So my point of telling you that is just, look at people's fruits, watch their works. This is how who you're dealing with, and so that's kind of what I'm doing, what I'm saying with that right there. And I know I'm kind of getting off subject, not that we're actually on the subject, but I'm going to go ahead and jump over to the chat for a second to scroll with you, and then I'll get to that Michelle Obama here in just a second, because actually, I'm just going to do that now. You got to love this, guys. I'm sure. I hope you guys are okay with me just kind of bouncing around like this. It's easier for me. I don't like structure very much anyway, so. Anyway, this week, here's another story that happened with Michelle Obama, and it says, Michelle takes food from U.S. Navy sailors, immediately unleashed this response. There's just another one where, the long and the short of it is she's going after the military's food too, telling them what they can eat. She wants to take away their French fries and their hamburgers. The same thing she did to the kids, And that's what I'm saying. It goes back to that video I made about, does the American flag even matter anymore? No, and it's a problem. Too many people think that it's still salvageable. They still think that America still exists. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I know that's not very fun to hear, I listen to all kinds of different talk radio and stuff at different times, and I don't sign off to just everything I listen to, but one of the people I listen to from time to time is Michael Savage. And, I don't know, 40% of what he says, usually, I like some of that stuff, but there's a big part of it. He's just so, He's establishment, but he's not. I don't think he's so much a part of the system. He has his own show. He actually had a talk show on MSNBC that lasted one day. And you can go on YouTube and actually watch that clip and watch what happened. He got mad at a homosexual caller, and it was probably a troll. I don't know if there's a real homosexual caller or if it's somebody from MSNBC calling from the other room, but somebody kind of got him a little bit mad, and he said I think he said, "I hope you die of AIDS" or something. He said this on air, and that was his first and last show. So go figure. But anyway, with Michelle Obama and all this stuff with the military, that's what I'm saying. I mean, they don't care, man. This is why they do what they do. It doesn't matter. They are in charge. They are in control. And if anything, they're well aware of the agenda or what's to come. And what's coming? Is it going to be this thing in September everyone's talking about? I mean, who knows, man? I mean, something seems to be on the way. Something seems to be on the way. We talked about it last week. There's a lot of really interesting things lining up for September 23rd, 24th, 22nd, somewhere in that area. But primarily the 23rd, everybody keeps focusing on. And again, I'm not a date setter. It's not good to set dates. I'm not saying Jesus is going to take us away on that day or anything like that. I mean, I don't know what it's going to be. It could be the beginning of a false flag alien invasion, or it could be the beginning of an actual invasion, what looks like aliens, but are actually fallen angels. I mean, there's so many possibilities, and I've covered most of them, I think, on the channel at one time or another. But anyway, let me go ahead and pull back here on the chat and just see what you guys are chatting about. I've been rambling for 30 minutes. Let's see here. Somebody says, this is a Fulgen turn. I think I said that right. KJ, there was an article that showed what kids around the world are ate compared to the US. It was embarrassing, the pictures they showed. I don't doubt it, man. Like I said, I mean, you can find that video I did, or better yet, just do a Google search on Michelle Obama's lunch, like pictures, of what it is. And it's unbelievable. It's laughable. It's enough to make you cry, but it's unreal. It's just another example of how cuckoo crazy that this society's become. Everything is literally turned upside down. It's crazy, man. And there's Boneless Rocker. Hey, right before Joan Rivers died, she made comments about Michelle. Yep. Yeah, I did a video on that one. A bunch of us did a video on that, but that was an interesting one. And that goes back to the transgender thing too. That's really been all over the place, of course. I did a video on Bruce Jenner, but I mentioned to you guys before, I worked in California. I lived in California many years ago, and I was moved out there. I wanted to make movies and be a writer and all this. I went to film school. I wound up working in production on a bunch of different reality shows, which means I was really low level. I believe me, I wasn't a Hollywood big shot. I was just a guy that was moving stuff around and having to drive people around and whatever. I was just a production assistant, but I did it for like 3 years, and I worked on a lot of shows. And oh, sorry about that. And one of those shows was Big Brother. I worked on Big Brother for a couple of seasons as a production assistant. Now, I don't watch a lot of TV. I wouldn't recommend it anyway for anybody. I do watch a few shows online. There's a couple series that I keep up with just because I'm interested. And, you have to have a break. Sometimes I have to kind of plug back into the matrix a little bit, just to kind of, sometimes I have to, it's weird because you go through the process of breaking out of it. You wake up, you struggle, you go through the 5 stages of grief, then you break free from TV. I was away from it for years, but then after a while, it's like I found that my new TV became this stuff, and if you stare into the abyss too long, you become the abyss, right? So I had to start taking breaks, had to start watching my health better, what I was eating, my exercise. I mean, that goes with this stuff. If you really get into this stuff and you're looking at it all the time and you're focusing on it all the time, and you're doing it for the right reasons, you're really trying to find things to show people and expose things. But you got to be careful, man. You look at this stuff too long, and it can get inside you, and you don't want that. So that's in the 7 or 8 years I've been doing this, my relationship with God has strengthened. It's totally great. Like, I mean, it was always there, but now it's my best friend. I talk to God all the time. So, and I need that. I need that. So, anywho, let's see here. Moving on down. Oh yeah, so the transgender thing. I had a point to make. So on Big Brother, I'm watching Big Brother this season. I watch it online usually, but so I'm watching it this season, and of course, this season they had the first transgender, on there, the first transgender contestant, on Big Brother. It was a guy that's become a woman, and it's just like I said, it's everywhere you look. I saw an article the other day that there's a clothing line that's a big clothing line that's coming out, and it's making kind of androgynous clothes for children. So if little girls feel like they want to wear little boys' clothes, they're going to have everything you need. And then So the same way for the other. So they're pushing this agenda full force, man. It's just, again, everything turned upside down. What was once considered good is now bad, and what was once bad is now good. And this is where we're at. That's why it's hard for me to take anything seriously with American flag, patriotism, American government, anything they see on TV, elections. I see all this stuff as just a big joke, you know. But anyway, yeah, the transgender thing being pushed real hardcore too. Unreal. I saw a trailer for a transgender show. I think it's called My Name is Jazz or something like that. It's going to be on the Learning Channel. It got me to start working on a video about the Learning Channel. So I'll have that video up this week. But even with that one, man, it's like, it's, from what I understand, just from the preview, it was a boy. It was born a boy. And I guess around the age of 3 or so, it decided it wanted to be a girl. So the parents started dressing it up like a girl and kind of feeding into that. And now it's 15 or so, I think, and it looks like a little girl. Looks like a little girl. But it just shows, like, its life with its parents and stuff. And it was just showing how it's upset that boys won't flirt with it. And really, it's just this is what we're looking at, man. This is what we're looking at now. This is the kind of world we're looking at. This is the kind of world your kids are growing up in. I was thought about this the other day. I know it's not a fun thing to think about, but with the agenda being pushed so much now and in full force, that if this world's still around, or we're still around in 10 years, I would seriously think that in 10 years from now, any of you that have kids that are like, little right now and have to go through public education for the next 10 years, I was just thinking the other day, like, in 10 years, all these kids are going to be bi. To me, I don't see how it couldn't be, because the stuff's being pushed so hardcore right now, and it's being so normalized right now, that in 10 years, after all that, going through that public education system, right, and being indoctrinated by that beast system with all this stuff for 10 years, it's just going to be normal for kids to be bi. You're probably gay anyway. Ain't going to matter. It's just whatever, right? So again, man, if you could homeschool your kids, I'd say that's the way to do it. But I'm a bit of a nihilist too. I'm almost like, just get them out of school. It don't matter anymore. But don't listen to me. I don't want to start saying stuff like that. Like I said, I don't have kids. I don't have kids. So let's see what else we have here. Just kind of going through and try to catch up on your questions. Let's see here. Yes, Precise Vids. How you doing? Good to see you. And let's see what else we got here. Yep, controlling the food is a way to control the mind and behavior. That is true. Let's see what else we got here. I went way back, guys, so I'm just kind of catching up with you. But, thanks for your patience. Sometimes I just get caught up in reading your comments here. Good point there. Efagoltern says, fellow man, work on your heart. This is what God judges. Exactly. You're putting way too much dark energy into me, man. I'm not worth it. Trust me. I don't need that. Nobody does. Just take care of yourself, man. It freaks me out when I see people get so much hate and anger, not just at me, but other people I know that are really doing good work and trying to put good stuff out there. It's like, why do you guys focus so much on this, man? It's weird, dude. It's weird. Hey, Lori. Said Lori B. Hi. See what else we have. Hey, Marta. Good to see you. Man hands. Yes. Okay. What else we got? Anna, people still trying to talk about that flat earth stuff. I'm just not down, man. It doesn't matter. I'm not into it. Hey, Martin. How you doing? Yeah, absolutely. That satanic influence is everywhere, as far as food, the kids, every level, all around the world. It's not just America. And I'm just kind of going through and reading your stuff, guys. I'm going to let you guys just keep chatting, because I'm not seeing any questions right now, which is fine. And we'll just kind of talk about a couple other things I was going to talk to you about. A couple other little things I've seen just in the news this past week I thought was interesting. What's going on? But another one I thought was pretty wild. You guys may have seen this, but it's a 2, 3, 4 days ago, they came out with this. They're talking about an earthquake any day now in the Bay Area out in California. They're expecting an earthquake any day now. And these are mainstream sources. I know people love their mainstream sources, but when it gets the mainstream and they start talking about this stuff, something's going down, right? I mean, you got to wonder why they're talking about it. But so that's another one that's really interesting as far as the earthquake. So are we on the verge of the big one in California? I don't know. Another thing that's been coming up this past week, it's really interesting, has to do with all the holistic doctors dying and missing. And I shared a story on that about a week ago from like a health food site or whatever. And they were talking about a lot of these natural and holistic doctors, like I said, have been dying and coming up missing. And it seems like it's just been increasing over this past week. And again, I think Professor Doom did a video on this. I'm sure some others have done this too, but I've seen a few things out there. But people are talking about there's a connection with vaccines, that there's somehow these doctors are connected. You guys can maybe, tell me what's going on with this stuff on the side if you know anything about that. But yeah, there's something going on with the vaccines and all these doctors dying and coming up missing. But again, that just goes to show you, more of the agenda. I think I talked about this last week, but California is talking about making it mandatory to give your kids vaccines. And then a few days later, I saw a story that was talking about maybe California talking about making everybody have vaccines, like even the adults. And that's just part of it. I mean, it's going to escalate. We've already seen this dialogue coming out for a long time. Most of you are familiar with Agenda 21 and the UN. So you know that that's all a part of it. You know that they are really poisoning us, and they have been for a long time, and they really want to get you on those vaccines. That's going to be the big ones, get you on those vaccines so they can put anything in you they want at that point. All right, let's see what else we got here. I'm just kind of scrolling through. Sometimes I like just reading your chats, It's like I get kind of caught up in your chat too. It's like, cool. Hey, Kevin S., how you doing, man? Good to see you. All right, let's see. Hey, Wolfstein, thanks. There you go, Digivox. You're saying it's fascist and Marxism unveiling itself. Well, yeah, that's definitely one of the bricks in that pyramid for sure. It's exactly what's going on, just showing itself, right? And just think of all those, and see, that's how they use that false left-right paradigm. They make everybody on the right Republican look like an idiot that was trying to say, Obama's a Marxist, he's a communist. And unfortunately, the people they have out there pushing it are people that are hard to like, even for people on the right. I think like Glenn Beck, he was a big mouthpiece for a while, and that's why I imagine it's probably has something to do with Operation Mockingbird, or you can call these people gatekeepers. You know what I mean? They put these people out there like that. They give you 80% truth, but then 20% lies, and Glenn Beck certainly fits that. You know what I mean? But again, he's just not a very likable person. He's kind of goofy, kind of a dork. But he was the one up there talking about Obama's a Marxist, he's a communist, they're doing this, they're doing that. And a lot of the stuff he was saying is true. But then he'd just do something dumb. He believes the 9/11 story is one thing about Glenn Beck. He believes the official story. So at this point, call me a conspiracy theorist, but I can't trust anybody that believes the official story on 9/11, especially now. After all this stuff's come out all these years later, you still believe the official story. I can't talk to you. And let's keep on going down here and see what we got. Hey, what's up, Big Daddy Dunk? Good to see you. And let's see. Hey, Tetsuya, how you doing? There's somebody from My TV says Trump is a Muppet. Yep, absolutely. My TV made me think of MTV. That's something else that's coming out. Usually I'll do like an Illuminati video on a lot of the events that come out. The Super Bowl halftime shows, the MTV Awards shows, the Grammys, whatever, right? It's almost become a staple, I think. And you can't admit. I mean, I can't not do them because these things are becoming so obvious. They've been showing us these, not just the Illuminati symbols or anything like that. I mean, they're literally doing rituals on stage. They've been doing this for years now, out in public in front of everybody. And I've been talking about this for years. There's other people that talk about it as well, but it's just becoming so much more obvious now. But I just saw something the other day that Miley Cyrus is going to be hosting, I guess, the new MTV Movie Awards or Music Video Awards, whatever it's going to be. So that'll be interesting to watch, just because I'm sure it's going to be filled with symbolism. And sometimes we can see where the enemy's coming from through a lot of the things they like to put up on stage right before our very eyes as entertainment. So I'll be watching for that one. There's Castor Troy. Hey, KG, I live in Philadelphia, and everyone is hyped about the Pope. I think I'm the only one who doesn't really care. Yeah, man, I think I briefly mentioned that. That's interesting because, there's the Church of Philadelphia also in the Bible, and then the Pope is going to be in Philadelphia on the 23rd of September for a big announcement. And again, I'm not sure, but I think he's supposed to be broadcast, right, around the world from either there or from the White House, or so he's making a few stops when he comes to America. He's going to the White House. I think he's going to see the Senate or the Congress as well. But I swear I read somewhere he's going to be broadcast to give some kind of a message out to the world. So that's going to be interesting. And I'm hyped to see it, not because I like him. I can't stand him. I mean, if anything, I think he's most likely the false prophet. And we know about the Black Pope. You probably heard about the Black Pope prophecy. And I believe that's a Malachi Martin prophecy. But look at the Black Pope prophecy. I mean, people believe that it's this guy. So yeah, and he's definitely up to no good. He also puts out a lot of really split messages. He'll say one thing one week and then say something reverse of it the next. I'm going to do a video on that. I'm going to have to put that together because I've been pulling little stories on him now for a while. I've done a few videos on him in the past, but he is just a mess. It'll be interesting to see, though, man. I'm looking forward to September just for to see what comes, see what's happening. And I know a lot of us are like that. Again, a lot of people are thinking September, something's going to happen the 22nd, 24th. It's so weird, right? I mean, on one hand, you don't want bad things to happen. You don't want doom. You don't want this. You don't want that. But then I think a lot of us, there's a little side. It's like, just bring it, man. Bring whatever it is. Let's just do this. Get it over with, man. Let's do this, because it's just the corruption's just growing. It's getting crazier. It's getting worse. It's like something's got to break, right? So, and I'm just being honest, man. I go back and forth in my own personal thoughts with that sometimes. I don't want to see bad things happen to humanity, but then this stuff is prophecy. And we know a lot of the stuff has to come. A lot of the stuff is coming, and a lot of stuff has to come. It seems, and a lot of things are lining up. So it's going to be something to watch for. All right, let me keep on moving down here. Yeah, okay, I'll go ahead and address this just because I usually won't. But I'm not one to just shy about this stuff. Here's what this fellow man keeps talking about, is that I monetize videos. Guys, I've been on here 5 years. I monetize videos. I've monetized videos for years. I don't see how that's a deal. How is that a problem? It's like I said, they can never go after your message or the videos or anything that you really do, any of your information. They try to go after these weird personal things, like, he makes money, Well, I just gave someone $500 recently just because, this is how I do, I was trying to give something back. So, and I don't just live off YouTube. I do other things as well. It's just, but this is what these people do, man. They try to get you on this dumb, look at his avatar. It's got a monster on it. I mean, just unbelievable, guys. Again, it's just, but that goes with it too. That just comes with this. Like I said, typically I don't care about this stuff. It's laughable. I see it and I get what these people are trying to do, but just understand this is principalities. These are spirits we're dealing with, working through these people. And so many of them, again, are, I'm a truther and I'm a Christian, but then they try to come at you on this stuff, and they're little deceivers and liars and love casting accusations and just, little deceivers. But I'll tell you this, the reason I don't care that much about it, I did just address it just because it's stupid, man. Come on. But the whole thing is that people like you get everything that you deserve. There's a nature, there's a natural rhythm to the universe. All right. I mean, think about it. What we're all made out of is little particles, protons and neutrons, moving so fast against each other, creating friction that it creates matter. Right. And then of course the soul is a whole other issue altogether. But so everything's connected. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And there is a lot of real laws to the energies and all this. Right. So when I see people like this, these little people like nipping at your heels and you're trying to get you off your game and trying to cast, these, hey, do you know KJ did this? Or look at KJ doing that. And they never look at your information because the information's solid. They come after you on this stupid stuff. It's like, how miserable are you in your real life, man? Seriously, people like you. How miserable are you people? That you're not really out there trying to do any good. You're just trying to go after other people. That's all you do. Your feet rush to wickedness. People like you. I'll tell you, man, you get it back, and you're probably living it. I don't know you people. I just see names on YouTube, but you're probably living it. I mean, I don't know how miserable some of you people are, but I know you're living it. And all this negative energy you put out, and all these lies and deception, all this wickedness people like you do, it comes back to you, not just in the afterlife. I mean, now, in the here and now. So that's why half the time I don't care about this stuff, man. I get it. And you're going to get what's coming to you. And I don't need to do it. I don't need to raise a hand towards these people. I don't care enough to, because I know that the energy is going to get them. The spirit's going to get them. If you put that kind of stuff out, it comes back to you. And that's the way that works. So I answered your question, man. I hope that, I hope that was good for you. And let's see what else we got here. Just going through. Dang, man, I fall way behind on your comments, guys. I'm sorry. Let's see here. Hey, Boneless Rocker. Thanks, man. I'm just reading you guys' comments at this point. Don't worry, Tetsu. I'm not going to start selling nutraceuticals. I'm not ever going to sell you guys any products or anything. Don't worry about that. And yeah, you're right. There's Gopi says preaching doesn't help people who don't believe. You're right. I mean, it's, you got to look at that individually, and you have to look at the individual, whoever you're dealing with. But I've mentioned that before. People are, oh, just tell them about Jesus. They're going to be okay. Good luck, because I've known a lot of atheists and agnostics in my life, and like I said before, no, they're not all idiots. I mean, like the little kid ones are we see on YouTube that just have foul mouths and stuff. But most of the atheists and agnostics I've known are very smart people. A lot of times they're doing really well in life too. They're smart. They got their heads together. They just don't have the spirit. And they have no room for this. So you try to tell some of these people, hey, you just need a little Jesus. I mean, good luck. Okay. Good luck. So you have to go about other avenues to wake people up. This is part of the reason I'm the scariest movie ever. This is the part of the reason I chose the way I chose my name. I made my movie the scariest movie ever made many years ago. I chose this because I knew I needed to go out into the world to grab these people. And this is the kind of stuff people gravitate towards: scary, weird, aliens, UFOs, monsters. I know that, man. Plus I'm a bit of a geek. I was raised into the sci-fi and UFO and all that goofy stuff too. But so I knew what I was doing when I started this a long time ago. This is why I can't apologize for, how scary things are sometimes that I show, or the way I do things, or my avatar or whatever, because it's doing what it's supposed to do. And I think that my fruit shows that. I think that it shows that I've reached a good amount of people, and I did this all on purpose. Like I said, I could have just put Jesus on my avatar and did videos where I'm reading from the Bible every day and having y'all come on and say, okay, guys, Corinthians, we're going to talk about, and then, I could have done that, but there'd be no audience. The audience I would have would be people who are already Christians and sitting there reading their Bibles along with me. And that's the problem with churches I have. It's one of the problems I have with churches. We have to think outside the box, to be fishers of men. You got to think outside the box. And a lot of times we try to put the way we think into God. We're like, oh, God sees it the way we do, blah, blah, blah. You need to get in your Bible, and you need to do this and do that. To some degree, yeah, but it's just, you can't just take your Bible and beat people over the head with it, man. It just doesn't work like that, Anyway, that's a complex issue, but that's part of it. All right, let's see what else we got here now. And still going down. Let me catch up to the comments, man. I'm way behind you guys. Somebody wrote, we are fractals of God. That's an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, God made us, right? Doesn't mean we are gods, but God made us. Okay, I'm going back. Oh, man, I missed a lot of questions. I'm trying to back up here. All right, guys, let's see what we got here. Somebody said F the Pope. Yeah. Yes, yeah. He's a bad, bad man. Somebody's saying the Pope's going to speak on family and he's going to legitimize the LGBT agenda this year. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know. Is that actually a thing? Have they said that's what it is? I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. Herb Prophet. Hey, man, good to see you. Good to see you. And let's see what else we got here. Somebody is asking me, hey, Effie is asking me, have you heard about the Pope changing the 10 Commandments? No, I have not. I heard about the LGBT Bible, the gay version of the Bible they're doing, but I haven't heard about the Pope changing the 10 Commandments. I'll have to look that one up. I mean, if that's, yeah, I'll be watching for that one. Like I said, man, I'm watching for the September 2, guys, just like you. I do a lot of these videos. I see a lot of this stuff leading us through this summer. I just did the summer of 666, and it certainly has turned out to be the summer of 666 so far. And there's a lot more stuff to come. So isn't it weird, man? It's like on one hand, you almost want to grab some popcorn and just kind of watch the doom play out. You know, on the other hand, you don't want to see any of it happen, and you want everything to go on as, quote, normal. But what is normal now? You know, the transgender in your kindergartens and things like this, and all this other madness happening all around the world. That's the new normal. I don't know if I want that either. I'll just say this. Yeah, I want God. I want Jesus to come back. I want this all to change. I'm done. I'm still here, you know, and I live my life and I do the best I can, and I enjoy my life outside of, well, even on YouTube. You know, I do the best I can. I travel a lot. I'm a gypsy. It's how I live. I think I live a good life, a cool life, you know. It's how I do. So don't get me wrong. I'm not just giving up over here, you know, and I don't want you to do that either. That's not what we should do, because there's still a lot of people to reach. There's a lot of life to lead. Even if you're not making videos and things like that, you know, I mean, just be a great father, be a great mother, be a great, you know, husband, wife, whatever, son, daughter, you know, I mean, just still live your life, you know, live in love, follow the ways of Christ, I would hope, you know, and if you don't know Christ, I hope you'd figure that one out pretty quick, because that's what all this stuff's about, man. In my opinion, after my years of research, that's what all this stuff is about. Hey, Chris Valesco. Hey, man, what's up? It says, what would you think if everyone was able to click in and say, like when I was skateboarding in the zone? In real life, it's hard enough. I'm one in the zone. I'm ripping. Oh, well, I think I just totally, yeah. Sorry, man. I don't know if that was meant for me. And no, the Black Pope is not some YouTube channel. It's a prophecy. I think it was from Malachi Martin. You can check him out sometime, or check out the Black Pope prophecy. Look that one up, okay? A lot of people think it has to do with this one. And let's see what else we got here. Oh yeah, hey Michael Blake. He's saying, any of you seen the TV show Vikings? Yeah, man, I did a video on it actually. Oh yeah, Michael, I did. You can check it out. Go on my main channel. I did a video on Vikings, and you're right, man. There's tons of symbolism in there with Vikings. So check that out sometime. If you guys haven't seen it, kind of a cool show. I thought what I saw of it was pretty interesting. You know, it's man type stuff. You know, lots of fighting and swords and stuff like that. But lots of interesting symbolism there. Lots of beast system type symbolism in there. Let's see what else we got here. Somebody's saying, it's from X God O. KG, what do you think about Chris LaSala? You interviewed him a year ago on PSN Radio. He's building a people's temple like Jim Jones built in South America in Texas. Man, well, I haven't heard anything about that. And yeah, I did interview him. See, that's another thing. It's kind of, I'm not saying you're doing it, but a lot of these people are trying to do that. You know, KG interviewed so-and-so, so they're part of something. I mean, that's so ridiculous. It's like saying, I don't know what, you know, Johnny Carson or something was involved in the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson because he had OG on the show. I mean, just seriously, man, like I said this in a video recently, people have lost the ability to think critically. They're not thinking clearly anymore, you know, but I just want to put that out there. And I see not just with Chris LaSala, other people, KJ, didn't you interview this person a year and a half ago? Interesting. You know, what are you two doing? And it's like, I don't know these people and I don't talk to these people on a regular basis. I started Rigged Reality Radio and I interviewed people I was interested in YouTube. That's what I did, you know. And then I stopped, and now I'm doing this. And I'm pretty much at the point I don't want to interview people anymore anyway. If anything, I think I mentioned this, I'll be doing a radio show here soon where it's just going to be open lines and you guys can call in and just talk to me. Because I want to hear what you're thinking. What are your concerns? What are your thoughts? What kind of pieces of the puzzle you have? Let's make it a show for you, okay? And it's unfortunate. You can't even like just run a little radio show and try to interview people without everybody casting, oh, what are you doing? You know, it's just not that that would hold me up anymore, but I completed that. I already interviewed people. It was cool. I did it for a year and a half or so, a year. And then I was done, you know, and I stopped it. And I told you guys I'd do something else soon. And like I said, it'll be this new radio show where you guys can call in. I think that'll be really cool. So now, man, I haven't even seen a Chris LaSala video in a long time. Last one I saw of his was, I think his wife was pregnant or something like that. It's like the last thing I saw on my feed from Chris. And so I'm gonna have to look this up though, man, because I don't know he's building a people's temple in South America. Oh, in Texas. Okay. Yeah. I mean, see, I'm going to look at this. I hope you're not just throwing this out there because that's pretty messed up, man. Like, I mean, you know, that is messed up. Um, is he really calling it a people's temple? You know, I don't know, man. I'll look that up though. And again, I don't want to sit and just judge the guy without seeing what he's got to say. I just, you know, I'll check it out. I don't know. And I'm not, I just don't worry about other YouTube channels and stuff. Honestly, man, I don't care that much about what so-and-so's doing over there, or who's doing this over there. I don't care. When I'm on the internet most of the time, I'm not on YouTube. I'm usually on other places researching ideas I've got, trying to figure out what stories I want to follow and, you know, whatever it is. That's what I do. So I'm in a lot of other places usually, man. I just don't want to I don't like getting trapped on YouTube. You can get trapped on YouTube, you know. I'm on here enough as it is. So anyway, thanks, man. I'll check that out. I don't know anything about that. And then Wyman Lester saying, we as followers of Jesus really need to pray and ask God what our specific duties are. We all have a job to do here. Absolutely, man. And that's another reason I stand strong and I keep moving forward. And I feel good about what I do because I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, how I'm supposed to do it. No matter how weird that seems or bizarre to other people, I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, period. That's why I don't care when I get people hating on it, which is, like I said, a lot of times it's other Christians, but or so they say. You know, I don't want to say it because I mean, my family's Christian. I was raised Christian. I basically am a Christian, but then, like I said, so many people use that label and it's been, you know, what they're doing with it. And like I said, these people hit me up on my videos and my channel all the time. And the first time I've even heard some of these people, and they're just so hateful and nasty, you know, right up front. It's like, why, dude, why even bother writing to me? I don't need to talk to you. You know, I don't need to get involved in this with you. So let's see. Let's keep on going down here. There's another Herb Prophet. Good to see you, man. And let's see. Check the Madonna Super Bowl halftime show out. Yep, I did a video on that one too. Yep, false peace deception. You bet. And let's see what else we got. Still moving down here. Hey, John Minton, how you doing? You're right, man. The world loves the Pope. Pueblo Donna, how you doing? My TV says the corruption isn't getting worse. It's just being exposed more now. No, man, that's a really tired old thing people are always saying. I mean, I've talked about this before. Everything goes in cycles. It's been worse than it's been way worse than what it is right now throughout history at different times. But then it works through and things happen, and we are back in one of those cycles though. That's the obvious part. We're in a destructive cycle again. We're there. You know, these things have happened before. Rome burning, Nero, some of this, you know, some of these stories, right? We've seen some horrible things through history, not just Nazi Germany. That was one, but I mean, lots of other things throughout history have been horrible and crazy signs in the heavens and all that. I mean, there's been a lot of crazy things happen in our history, but these things work in cycles. And I think we're back in another obvious, like a cycle of destruction. You know, there's change, a big change is about to take place. And that's where we're at. You feel it. I know you got to feel it. I've been feeling it for years. It's why I do what I do. You know, change is here in so many different ways. Let's see what else we got here. April Hare. Hey, April. Always good to see you. I'm ready to live Swiss Family Robinson style. Yeah, right? I kind of am right now. I recorded me cutting up in one of my coconuts to pour drinks and all that earlier. And I was just going to play that in the background, but now we're just sitting here talking and I didn't upload it. But next week, if you guys want, I'll show you some of that stuff. I'm going to record some footage out here. It is beautiful where I'm at, just to play in the background for you so you don't have to look at the scary image the whole time or whatever on screen. You know, I'm trying to do things like that. I'm still learning this technology as I use it. I guess I should have figured it out by now, but I just get caught up in rambling. If I'm not rambling, I'm reading all of your comments and just kind of going, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Just kind of getting caught up. So, hey, but that's how we do. All right. No structure here for me. So let's see here. Zach Prophet says Groxt is pretty sure this is all going down under Obama. Yep. I like Groxt, known Groxt on YouTube for many years. And yeah, I like his work. But he talks about the way that Grok sees it is, and it's and there's a few different ways that people see it. Like the rapture, or the end game, whatever this is going to be. There's a few different ways people are seeing it play out, and we're going to talk about what the Groks is seeing, because it's really interesting, and see what you guys think about this. We're at the top of the hour, guys. I'm going to put it on mute here just for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Just take a quick little break, and I'll be right back. Okay? Thanks. Hold tight. Okay, guys, thanks. It wasn't a minute, but anyway, let me go ahead and jump into this, because it's not just the Groks. A lot of people see it this way, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm saying it's one of the ideas that's out there, and I kind of sign on to this too at times. I don't know, man. I'm still on the fence with rapture stuff, and I've told you guys that before. I mean, I pray a lot. I call it more of a meditation, I guess. I spend a lot of time, even if I'm out in nature and riding my bike or whatever I'm doing, I'm always just talking to God in my head and trying to piece things together and figure it all out. This is just the way my head works. And this is why I'll make just random videos. It'll seem I'll do one subject one day and something totally different the next. I just, whatever I kind of pick up on, it's what I do. So I spend a lot of time just thinking, but, but I've prayed a lot about the rapture. I've asked, it sounds so funny. I asked God about that, but I kind of do, I'm like, and I'll tell you, and I've mentioned this before, guys, I just get a brick wall. Like it's just not, that's not something for me, I think personally, to really get into. And I don't, and I don't worry about it either. I live my life day by day. I'm very Zen. All right. Zen. No, it's not some goofy religion. Look up Zen, but it's just being in the here and now, being of sound mind. This is the way I am. I'm here now. As we're talking, I'm 100% KJ with you right now. It's just me, just talking. If any of you, some of you know me, well, one of you knows me from Austin. One of my friends comes on here from time to time. And, if you knew me in real life, though, the rest of you, you'd see I talk to you just like this. This is how I am, so, and that's how I talk to my creator, I mean, every day, just talking and asking questions. And, the closer you get in a relationship with God, he talks to you in a way that you'll understand. I'll say that. Many of you know what I'm talking about. We have different ways, right? I see the numbers as one way, the 111. I see that all the time. I've mentioned that before, but anyway, the rapture stuff, man, I never get anything on that. Like I said, it's a brick wall. It's not for me to think about or worry about or try to teach people about, because it's not for me. There's a lot of great teachers out here on YouTube and all over the world outside of YouTube that have different theories on this, and they're teaching, and that's great. The ones I've been seeing that I gravitate towards oftentimes is kind of like what the Grox's idea is, and it's not just his. A lot of other people have it as well. I think it's interesting. But then I wonder sometimes, are we going to be here? That's the big question, right? With the rapture is are we going to be taken away? Will there be this event? Will we be taken away? And then, well, let me just go and tell you what the Grox kind of goes to here, right? And basically, I think here's what he says. Obama is an antichrist spirit, and I agree. And I've said that time and time before too, but I don't think that he is the Antichrist. That's not what I believe. I think that there's something else coming after him, possibly. Okay. That's one theory. All right. And like I said, guys, I'm just kind of throwing this out there, some kind of loose thoughts on this stuff. But it seems like the Grox, I believe he thinks that there's going to be an event coming soon. It'll basically be the great and terrible day of the Lord, where there's going to be a lot of bad things happening at once. Maybe the earthquake, on the West Coast goes off. You got Yellowstone popping off. You got the Mississippi cracking wide open. You got the tidal waves hitting on the East Coast. You got asteroids coming down, fire from the sky. I mean, just craziness, right? Like, just, it's all going down. And I believe he thinks it's going to be something like that event. And during that event is when we're going to get taken away. Now, Jonathan Kleck also kind of talks about this as well. Like, as the missiles come down, we go up. He believes in a lot of that as well, that on this day when all this bad stuff goes down, that Jesus is going to take his, he will take his away. But there's going to be remnants. There's going to be people left here. Okay. And they're the ones who are going to have to deal with truly with the matured fifth age, the real New World Order, the quote fun camps for everybody, right? And hardcore Christian persecution, and who knows what it's going to look like? Hunger Games type stuff or something, for all we know. I don't know, but it's some madness, right? It's because it's basically going to be the devil getting to run ramshot for, what is it, 2.5 years or something like that, or however long it is. So the devil's going to be able to run loose and come after God's kids, come after the Christians, but he's going to be going after everybody at that point. So that's the idea. So there's going to be, what is it, tribulation saints. There's going to be a lot of people. There's going to be a whole new, group of people believing God and understanding God. I think a lot of people may be coming. Sometimes I look into the future, I think, and maybe they'll be coming back and looking at our YouTube videos and stuff. I don't know, think, oh, that's what they were talking about. I mean, I don't know. Is that why God has some of us making these videos sometimes? I wonder, are these videos going to be left for the remnants? All those people that mock us right now or don't even pay attention right now, will they be coming back to these videos in the future? Not just mine, but other people, other teachers, and other people who've been trying to show you guys these things and piece this stuff together. Will these be left for them, to help them to understand what's going on? I don't know. Anyway, that was kind of a bit of a ramble session on the rapture and all that stuff, but I like the Groks a lot, like Jonathan Kleck a lot. They've, like I said, we all came up together around the same time over the years on YouTube, and I like their ideas. I hope they're right. Believe me, I'd love to go, take me, let's go, but I'm also prepared if not, that's the thing is, and I think that's a really important thing to remember, guys. Live in the here and now, have your relationship with God, have that secured, have your connection with Jesus Christ, all that, and just be prepared. And when you are, you'll find your peace. Like, you'll be able to deal with this stuff and see this stuff and not worry about this stuff, and just be aware, be watching. We're all watchers, and we're watching, and we make videos, and we need to make videos, and we try to warn the others, just in case, and have everyone be prepared. But no need to worry, but just be ready. Like you said, even if you don't go, what if we have to be here during all the chaos? What if you have to be here during all the bad stuff? You need to have your faith intact. You're going to have to really cling to God in those days, because he's going to take care of you. He's going to take care of all of us. But yeah, man, that's kind of where I'm at with the rapture stuff. Like I said, I don't know what to tell you on that, but what I just did. So let me go ahead and move on down a little bit and see what else we got here. Still looking. Oh man, there's a lot of you. Hey guys, good to see you. Thanks for coming. Hope you I hope you appreciate. I mean, not appreciate this. I hope you enjoy this. Sometimes I feel like, man, I'm just rambling off and we're just chatting and whatever. And I hope you guys are okay with it, man. It seems you are. We've been doing this for a while. This is number 7. So thanks again. And let's see what else we got. Yeah, and then Herb Prophet is talking about gather the wheat into the barn. Yeah, the wheat and the tares. I've talked about the wheat and the tares a lot as well. Man, these are such interesting times. It's hard for me to put into words sometimes, you guys, even the things I feel. And man, just it's very interesting. I mean, it's very interesting the times we're in. And hey, Casey, Into the Stars is here. How you doing, man? And I'm excited to be here, man. I'm glad I get to live in this generation. I don't care what anybody else says. I'm glad I'm here, and I'm hoping that I'm able to help some people out there in my own way. And I love that you guys are here. I love we have a community of people that are wide awake, and a lot of us are trying to figure this stuff out together. And it's exciting, man. These are exciting times, guys. It's like I said, me, I'm not a preacher, but man, God is real. Jesus is real. And man, that's the key, It's exciting. I'm always sitting around thinking about what it's going to be like when this age is done. The 1,000-year reign of peace on the earth and all that. I'm always trying to put that into perspective and think, man, what's that going to be like, You know, what's that going to be like? Do you ever think about that? Do you ever think like what the 1,000-year reign of peace is going to be on earth? You know, do you ever think about what the heavenlies are going to be like, and just all the possibilities, and what your role is there? I'm always wondering, like, what's my role in the afterlife? You know, is there more? Will there be more battles? I always wonder if there's more battles. Are there going to be things for us to fight against in the afterlife? You know, and how do we do it? Because we're doing it here online and with knowledge and spreading knowledge and stuff like this, but I just wonder about stuff like that all the time. Half the time I told y'all before, my head's in the clouds, but I love thinking about that. I love thinking about heaven and the 1,000-year reign of peace and all that stuff, man. It's so interesting the times we're in, man. It's so interesting. All right, I'm going to go back up here and see if I can catch up with some questions and comments. Does anyone have an update on Jade Helm 15? That's from Danielle Denise. I think I said that right. Hi, Danielle. Gosh, I haven't seen anything on Jade Helm 15 in the last few days. Nothing major. It's all kind of the same thing. A few videos here and there of Black Hawks flying around, or army tanks on the back of trains, but I haven't seen anything major. But isn't it interesting that we have, since Jade Helm started, what, 2 or 3 different shooting events already? So I wonder how much of that stuff's going to be involved. I want to cover some of that, like I said, in a new video. And I'll be putting that video up probably up tomorrow or the next day. But it's very, very interesting, man. That's one thing I would say too, is keep your eye out for the summer as the days wear on, for many more events, many more shady, interesting events. And I wonder if it correlates with Jade Helm 15. I'm not sure, but that could be part of it. Somebody else I saw recently, not here on the chat, but just articles I'm reading and stuff, was talking about Jade Helm and a connection with AI, artificial intelligence. Have you guys heard anything about that? I'm going to look more into that, and if I find something, I'll do a video. But I've seen something where they're saying that Jade Helm 15, a big part of it, is some kind of a big AI program, artificial intelligence program, that's basically gathering data on everybody. So I'm not sure about that. I'll have to take a look there. Let's see who we got. David Miranda. David, how you doing? Also watch Donald Drumsfeld, Rebecca, and the Star Spirit channels. Yep, I've seen the Star Spirit channels. I like Star Spirit. And Ian, how you doing, man? It says, what are you guys hearing about Obama's Kenya visit? You're hearing folks predict he'll be shot. Who's saying that? I want to look it up. I have seen people talking about that stuff online, as far as him going to Kenya, and that's going to be when he has the head wound, I guess. That's another thing for some of you out there, if you're not familiar with this, but some people believe that Obama is going to suffer a head wound, and he'll resurrect like 3 days later, as we see this in the Bible, right? And then he'll basically be the Antichrist. A lot of people believe that may be happening. Maybe. I mean, the Denver International Airport has the dead leopard and all the children gathered around it. Have you seen that? And Obama and the leopard, is definitely a fit for the third beast. But I think there's even an argument for the fourth beast and the leopard connection as well. But so that makes you wonder. Some of you know what I'm talking about with the leopard stuff from the Bible and the third and the fourth beast. But yeah, look up the leopard on the Denver International Airport, and you'll see that there's a mural of it, and it's a dead leopard with all the different children from around the world representing different countries gathered around it. It's kind of creepy. So I don't know. In fact, that'd be an interesting one to look at and see if there's anything that has to do with Kenya on there, any kind of Kenyan symbolism there, or anything. Now I'm gonna have to look at that. So that's what I know about that, Ian. Good to see you, man. By the way, let's see what else we got here. Four Cakers. It's a nice name. Four Cakers. He's going to talk about the gay agenda even after 700 pastors there told him not to bring gay talk there. It is illegal there. Oh, in Kenya. Okay, he's going to talk about the gay agenda there. Yeah, they don't play out there, man. I've seen some videos of some of those pastors out there talking about that. They don't play with that gay stuff out there. So that should be interesting. And that's, I'm saying it's already a setup. It's already right there. Well, he was talking about the gay agenda and somebody out there shot him. I mean, who knows, right? Who knows? Okay, I'm still scrolling down, just reading your comments and your questions. Thanks for coming out here, guys, on your Friday night. I appreciate it, man. We'll keep going on here for just a little while, but I appreciate you spending time with me. I'm usually really good on keeping up with comments and questions on the videos and all that, but man, I've had to take more breaks. It's just for my own soul, for my own mind. It's like, because it's not just that I get a bunch of negative ones. I don't. I really get like a small percentage of really nasty negative ones, but I get so many like nice ones, and I appreciate that. But man, I get a lot of really heartfelt things like emails and personal messages, people asking for prayers, people telling me their really sad stories, and I really am a sensitive. I'm an empath. I mean that, and I feel this kind of stuff. So if I'm on YouTube for too long sometimes and reading too many of these things or whatever, man, it just bums me out, So yeah, I got to take a lot of breaks too. But anyway, there's so much sadness out there, man. There's a lot of broken people and a lot of bad things happening. But yeah, I was raised religious. Like I said, I just want to cling to Jesus. I almost want to just say cling to Jesus. But it's not that easy. Just, man, go with God, get to know God, work on your relationship, accept Christ as your savior. And like I said, when you do that, don't just say, okay, cool, I'm good. Try to follow his ways. Try to find the Jesus within us, the God within us, and then let it resonate. Follow that and let it be a part of your life. Again, not saying you're God or anything like that, as the New Agers and weirdos do, but follow Christ. Christ led a great example for us, man. If you just try to follow that example and live in love and kindness and patience and understanding and all that, I just feel like the mysteries of it all just start coming open for you. And you really do get to know God, and you can feel him and you know him, and it's amazing. And we're not supposed to fear. You can look this up, but I think you could type in like in a Google chat, like what was the most common phrase Jesus used or whatever. And I think it was fear not, or don't be afraid. You can look this up, and I'm pretty sure that one thing Jesus said time and time again was not to be afraid. Fear not. Don't be scared. Fear not. Fear not. Fear not. So the enemy operates that way. The enemy's operating through fear. We're not supposed to be afraid, guys. We're conquerors. And I'm not the perfect Christian over here either, man. I'm a human. I'm broken. I still do some dumb stuff from time to time. I've cleaned up a lot in my life, but I'm still broken at times, man. I still slip and fall, and it's just part of the being a human. That's just what's it. But I don't focus on it. I don't focus when I stumble or whatever. I just take it to God. I pray about these things, and I just try to be the best KJ I can be. Without sounding too dorky. Hi, Callie. Good to see you. Yeah, I know. She's saying that the Grok shows a lot of the same stuff. I know sometimes it does. Like I said, guys, you take what you need from your teachers and you leave the rest. Even with my stuff, I wouldn't want anybody just everything KJ says is gospel. We're all human. We have a lot of this is our theories and our perspectives too. So you take what you need, you leave the rest. You got to use your logic, your reason, your critical thinking skills, your spiritual discernment, the Holy Spirit within you. All these things, man. It takes all that stuff. Let's keep on moving down here and see what the people are talking about. Let's see. Hey, C. Lewis D. When the central bankers and the politicians they own, the wars will be over. I guess when you say when they go down or something. Yeah, it's the central bankers, man. It's the inbreeds. It's the inbreed bloodlines have had control of the world through these central banks, man. That's what's up. And the Illuminati bloodlines, we can call them, whatever you want to call it. But they're a bunch of inbreeds. Obama's related to Bush. You know that, right? All these people are related, man. You can look this stuff up. God, what's his name? That demon that used to, the demon with Bush. What was his name? Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney, the demon. God, that guy's just evil. I look at the guy, he's evil. But Dick Cheney's wife wrote a book a while back about how Obama and Bush are related, I believe. You can check that out. So this stuff's been coming out for years, man. Like I said, they're all inbred Illuminati type bloodlines. These nasty, nasty people. Hey, Effie. I always want to call you Effo Golden Turn or whatever, but Effie. Thanks. Yeah, she says, or they say it doesn't sound weird. Yep, cool. You talk to God all the time too, just like that. Nice. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Brandon Hossein is screaming at me. I picture a monkey banging on a keyboard. KJ, like capital letters. He's saying, KJ, the point of Zen is not to participate in Zen. Well, I don't participate in anything. Zen's just a philosophy, and the whole idea is to be here now, be in the moment, be present, be 100% of yourself. Don't be living in your past. Don't be worried about your future, because when you're doing that, it's taking you away from the now. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't. You're like, KJ's getting too mystical, he's new agey. No, man, this is how you find your peace. You're Brandon, you could be 100% of yourself every moment of the day if you're in the present, if you stay here now. And that takes, for me, it's taking peace with God, with Jesus Christ. I can do this. I can be in the here now and be 100% of myself, KJ, at all times, and give myself to people and help people and do good research and find the right things I got to find, because I'm totally here now. But I'm not worried about a girl that broke my heart 5 years ago. I'm not worried about somebody that wronged me last year. I ain't worried about whatever it was that happened 2 days ago. And I ain't freaking out about September 23rd. And I ain't worried about what's going to happen tomorrow. And I ain't worried about, I'm here now. I'm in the present. And it's a great place to be, man. It's called being at peace, So what else we got here? Let's see. Scrolling on down. Thanks for showing up, guys. Once again, I'm seeing a lot of names here on YouTube. Good to see you. Well, that's what I was trying to say earlier. Yeah, I try my best to talk to you guys on YouTube, but lately I've had to pull back a lot just because I need to take breaks. But that's why I like this too, so I can give you guys a chance to talk, ask some questions, things like that. It's nice to kind of chat with you here. So let's see what else we got here. Scrolling on down, looking. And Tetsuo says, oh, okay, I sometimes tell God I'm sorry for always talking his ear off, but I always get these little signals that it's okay. Perfect. See, there you go. That's the way it works. David Miranda saying, Donald Rumsfeld says JFK is also Jimmy Carter. He never died. I don't know about that, but there's some really interesting things about Jimmy Carter you can look into about him being a clone or a synthetic. And I talked about this with Putin a while back too. You can look at these different pictures throughout the years of these guys, and they just look completely different. Nose in different places, different eyebrows, ears look totally different. And some people do stuff like that, and it gets a little cuckoo. There's a guy, Dallas Goldbug, I think he's called. He never comes around my channel or anything, but I've seen him do that stuff. Alex Jones is Bill Hicks, and a lot of this kind of stuff, and but see, to me, that's the same thing with a lot of the kind of flat earth people and stuff like this, no offense, because I know not all flat earth people are like this, but I feel like a lot of that stuff's just psyop, it's just kind of over the top, goofy, kind of dumb stuff. It's distraction to get you kind of focused over here, and you know what I mean? But that's just me. So see what else we got down here. Just scrolling on down. Thanks for your patience. Oh, okay. I just realized that Brandon's not a very nice person. Now he's pounding the keyboards, blah, blah, all capitals with really dirty words. So, okay. You're going to have to go away now, Brandon. Sorry. The other cool thing about this is it's a quick way to find new trolls to block and ban, which is kind of nice. And let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of you. Oh, here's Freedom is here. Hey, KJ, what do you think about the Sandra Bland conspiracy? My gosh, like that's just so obvious and on our face. That one's sick. That's disgusting. I don't know if you guys saw this or not. If you're not familiar with the Sandra Bland case, I'm not sure where it happened. Was it Texas, Freedom? I'm not sure, but 3-4 days ago or so, a lady was pulled over for something really innocuous. It was, I don't know, like a turn signal or something really minor. And the dash cam footage shows the cop getting really hardcore with her. I think he pulls her out or something at some point, doesn't he? But what's really interesting on that dash cam footage is it was totally edited. Like you see the cars in the background that are kind of driving by or whatever, skip and stuff like this a couple times. So they took some things out of that footage. And again, this was just a traffic stop. It was a cop just pulling this lady over, Sandra Bland, I believe her name is, and like a turn signal or something. I don't know, something really minor, right? And then you see the dash cam footage that they released. In a couple moments, it literally skips and some stuff's taken out of there. And then 3 days later, they find her dead in a cell. Like they took her to jail. They arrested her that day, took her into jail, left her there. And then 3 days later, they found her, they say it was suicide. I'm thinking probably suicided, But they found her in jail 3 days later, dead, strangled, I think. I'm not sure. Is that right? Freedom is here. Maybe she was strangled or something. Bed sheets. I'm not sure. I didn't go that deep into it. But just another example, guys. It's absolutely disgusting. She was a black woman as well, and I think it was a white cop. So that's never good either. There's too much of that stuff going on as well. That's why, man, you can't blame, I see a lot of videos come out where there's black people talking to their people saying, look, guys, we got to get serious about, you got to be careful out there with cops. You got to do this, you got to take these precautions, you got to do that. And some people mock these folks. And it's like, man, they're really dealing with it. I mean, we're all dealing with it right now. This police force is out of control. There's a bunch of demons is what I see. It's the way I see them. There's a bunch of demons running around just hurting people. But yeah, the black community, man, definitely they're a target. It's unbelievable. And the Sandra Bland case is just an obvious example of that. It's sick. I think they killed her. It's sick, Anyway, keep on moving down. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Hey, Ladder, how you doing? Ladder Rain. And here's Marta. Marta Gilvaz says, I don't believe the Antichrist is a single person. I think it's been happening with a group of people and their actions, and we'll go straight to Judgment Day. Interesting. Yeah. There's lots of Antichrists. I guess the one that a lot of us talk about a lot of time or think about would be maybe consider the fourth beast, the one that's going to rule, right? Some people believe it's already Obama. Some people think it's going to be Prince William. I guess he's turning 33. Isn't he turning 33? Is it this year? Or maybe it's this summer. I don't know. That's another one of those summer is 666 type things, I'm guessing. But anyway, a lot of people think that it's going to be Prince William possibly. And there's been other people in the past people thought was going to be it. Remember Alex Tsipras? That was a big one there for a while in Greece. And I haven't heard anything about that guy in a while now. Maitreya, a lot of people think Maitreya is actually going to be the Antichrist and it's going to manifest through somebody, or maybe it'll just manifest in our reality and actually be it. Let's not forget the whole alien invasion thing. How are they going to play into this? Will it be the real aliens that come down? That, of course, I believe are actually the fallen angels in disguise. And that all goes back to the ancient alien programming we were under for so long now. Or will it be some kind of a blue beam situation? There's a lot of questions there. Like I said, there's so many possibilities, All right, still scrolling down. Let's see what else we got here. 4 Cakers says Jonathan Kleck is spot on. Yeah, I like Jonathan too. All right, what else we got? Still scrolling down, just reading. Yeah, I know some Tom Horn. He does some good work. I like Tom Horn. I've read a lot of this stuff. I've got the Book of Enoch. Some of you guys have probably read that or read the Book of Enoch. Some of the Apocrypha, things like this, some of the books that were taken out of the Bible, they're always interesting to kind of look into. Again, though, you got to use your discernment with those as well, All right, still moving down. I fall really behind sometimes here, guys, so sorry. I'm trying to catch up. Okay, let's see. All right, guys, give me 1 second. I'm just going to go mute just for about 30 seconds, okay? I'm going to take a drink. Hold on. Hi, Amy Nelson. Oh, here's Mia. Hi, Mia Montero. KJ, do you think it's really the end or the elite using the Bible as a script for social conditioning? Yeah, I know I've heard that one a lot too. And the Bible has been rewritten and there's so many different translations and all that. That's why, like I said, I'm not a Bible beater. I go to it, certain parts of it for myself, for my own personal understanding and things like this, but I'm not one to read the Bible to people and tell you my interpretations of it because there's so many different interpretations of it. I think it's a book that I think it's a spiritual thing. It's good to read on your own, and then there's the whole case of the God from the Old Testament, of course, being very different from the God that Jesus has taught us about. So there's that. There's a lot of questions, right? Yeah, maybe a little bit in there, man. Mia, maybe to a degree they're using it. They're using the Bible to some degree, but But then again, I mean, I do think that it is really the end. I mean, a lot of the stuff is prophecy. A lot of it is coming to pass. I don't think they wrote it that long ago, and now Obama, is reading something that one of these Illuminati members wrote 2,000 years ago, and is okay, guys, we need to do this and do that, and let's make it look like we're. I don't think it's quite like that either. However, there's the mystery religions, there's all the secrets the Masons have kept for years, and all the lodges and the higher end and all this stuff, and there's all the hidden knowledge and all that. But see, we're living in a time where all the knowledge is coming out too. So, is it possible that they have this some coded message they've had for all these centuries? That the Bible's all this and completely made up and it's meant for this? No, because the prophecies are a little bit different too than the rest of the Bible, and there's different prophecies. You can look in Daniel and not just Revelation. And so yeah, and this is what I do. I mean, this is what I've been doing for years now, and I've never been an overly religious person. I've always been very spiritual. I've always believed in God strongly and believed in Jesus. And even when I was a kid, after I got saved and baptized and all that stuff, I mean, I've always talked to God, always talked to Jesus, always had a relationship there. I've always had really unusual things happen to me in my life, supernatural type things, weird kind of paranormal type things. I'm that way. Like, I've always kind of led my life a little bit in the spiritual. My head's in the clouds. I kind of see this stuff. It's what resonates with me. So, and then years ago, I had my wake up, and I started doing what I do and started finding the kind of things I find and making these kind of videos. And I know that it's my job. This is what I'm supposed to do. So yeah, I guess in a way I have to kind of believe it's the end, because this is what I see and this is what resonates with me and what I feel like I need to show people. And yeah, I do. I do. I don't know exactly how it's all going to play out, exactly what it's going to look like, but we're in that time, Mia. Definitely. That's part of my mission here. Is to help wake up some people to these ideas, because the devil is manifesting. That energy has been manifesting here on this planet now for many years, more and more and more. At the same time, the God's kids are waking up, and there's wonderful things happening on that side too. So it's all spiritual, and I definitely think it's all coming together. So yeah, it's the best way I can kind of put it. It's hard for me to give you just a simple answer on that. I guess if I had to say my answer is, I'd say look at all my videos together and all my work, and that's my answer. Because it's that complicated. If you could somehow just put all my videos into one sentence, if I could, I would, and that would be my answer to you. But yeah, I do believe it's, quote, the end, but I think it's very complicated in so many different ways. And it's hard for me to just simplify it, I know. Anyway, good to see you, Mia. Thanks for dropping by. See what else we got down here. All right. Ladder, thanks again. Good to see you. And thanks for claiming the butterfly. Good to see you. And let's see here. Hey, Nisi. Nice to see you too. Hey, to makeshift wings. To makeshift wings. Thanks. I appreciate it. And still moving down. Let me see if I can't get caught up on here with you guys. All right, I just press the more comments below. Let's see what happens here. And more. And let's see. Oh, he just turned 33. Prince William from Eric John. Is that okay? Thanks. I mean, they're players. The royal family is definitely players and all this stuff. Speaking of everything being exposed and the truth coming out in all these different unusual ways, did you see on one of those channels, Bravo or E, one of those channels, they did a show about royalty? I think it's called The Royals, and it's basically just about how they're all, you know, crazy partiers and do what they want and this and that, and it's all that. But they really are, man. There's some interesting things have come out about the Prince William and Prince Harry over the years, and even some creepy nude photos of them hanging out partying with different chicks in hotels and just random stuff like that. So that's really what's going on. I'm not, I'm not from England, of course. I've never been there. I'd love to go though, but I don't know how you all see the royalty. I mean, does the majority of people there see through it and realize it's just a big sham? Or is it kind of like America, where the majority of people are caught in that left-right paradigm and really think that these are leaders and someone to be respected? I don't know. Let's see. Still scrolling down. Yeah, there's somebody talking about the doctors that are missing again. Yep, I know. It's I've seen a lot of, well, like I said, Professor Doom did a video, and I think he's the one that was saying he thinks it's connected to the vaccines. And that's a story I'm watching. A lot of these things I just kind of sit back and wait and keep watching, but that's, it's interesting, and it could be. Check out his video or whatever. I guess I'll have to do some more research and maybe do a video if more stuff comes out in the future. But I don't want to just do a rehash of someone else's video. Like, this is my video on it. Meanwhile, it mirrors everything Professor Doom said. So let's see what we got. Still scrolling down here some. Hi, Lori. This is from Lori Burgess. She says, KJ, I want to move to South America, and I would like to know how much I would need to have to be able to do so. I'm already geared toward a simple life. It's really cheap. It's really cheap where I'm at. And I did a lot of research on it first. One of the easiest things to do is just go on Craigslist, find the country you're interested in, look for apartments and houses. It's one of the things I started doing and found a bunch of different places. But the place I'm in right now is really majorly isolated. I think that I may move in about 3 more months from here to another spot here in this country where there's more expats, because I swear to you, there's none here. I mean, and it's beautiful, and I get to do what I want, and I do a lot of exercise. I'm out all the time. It's great, but I just have my landlords, which is a retired couple that can speak English. Other than that, it's like nothing, man. So, but God puts us where he wants us for whatever reason. I mean, this bit of isolation has been really good for me in a lot of ways, but I think after a while, I may want to get back around to where there's some people I can speak English with. But on the other hand, it's forcing me to learn Spanish. I'm learning little bits here and there. I can go to a store and get what I need, and the basics, stuff like that. But so yeah, it's really cheap. You can live where I'm at, the areas I was looking at, the area I'm in now, depending on your overhead, as long as you don't have like a lot of bills or anything like that. But out here, I mean, really cool, nice houses. And in this place that I'm at, most of these places come furnished. Most of them are already furnished. They have pots and pans and linens and all that stuff. And I really am a minimalist. I've always been that way. I travel very, very light. I keep maybe 1 or 2 little things here or there that have some kind of significance from my history, from my past. Little items, that's it, from childhood. Then I'll change my wardrobe like once a year or so, or 2 years. I'll just take all my clothes, give them to Goodwill or whatever, and go buy new clothes. I've always done stuff like that. As far as things, TVs and, whatever, and couches, wherever I move, I would have stuff, but then I would get rid of it, and then just move on. I've moved a lot. I'm just a gypsy. When I moved out here, all of my earthly belongings, I left a car back in America I'm trying to get rid of, but all of my earthly belongings I came out here with 2 bags. I had 2 bags with everything that I own in them, except for my artwork. I have some artwork in a car back in America. Other than that, man, that's it. Just very basic and simple. So $1,000 a month. I know this it took me a while to get to that, but $1,000 a month, you can live very comfortably in most of these places. You can find a nice place. It's safe. Food's cheap. You don't need a lot of money for entertainment because you're living in paradise, depending on where you go. And I got a boogie board. I spend a lot of time on the beach. I've got a bike. I ride my bike. I rode about 4 miles today, just riding around through town. It's just a simple life, and that's all part of it. It's all part of all my work I've done all these years, and all the stuff I get into, and the stuff I see, and some of the darker elements I have to get into, and all that. Like I said, man, I need this for my own soul and for myself too. I chose this. I planned all this out for a pretty long time to get out to a place like this, so I could just live like this for a while, and get closer to God, understand my place and all this a little better, do more work, get more work out there. Even moving beyond YouTube, there's things I'm working on now, and I'll bring all that up in the future with you guys. But just stuff like that, man. That's what I'm doing. This is my vision quest, I guess. So hope that helps some, Lori, but it's really cheap. I'm telling you, it can be really cheap. It's food's not that bad. And as far as price goes, and man, like I said, it can be done. I did it. There's people back home. They're, he's, okay. Oh, you're going to move to another country. Okay. You get a lot of that kind of stuff. Yeah, we believe you. I mean, and then I do it, they should have known. I'm that way. I do what I say. And it was crazy. Even when I was flying out here, when I was on the plane, like it just kind of hit me. I'm like, I'm doing this, man. Like I'm doing this, like this is happening. And I've moved a lot. I've lived in a lot of places throughout my life, but never out of the country. And God, man, just you think of it, put it in your head, put some energy behind it, start focusing on it, do what you got to do to get there, and you're there. You can do it, Lori. So hope that helps. Let's see if we can keep on moving down here a little bit and see what else we got. I know I don't get all of them, but this is why I try to do this once a week so we can chat. John Minton mentioned Mr. Cat Eye. Yes, yeah, I watched some of Mr. Cat Eye's stuff. Now, he said something recently, though, I thought was interesting. I'm not putting him on blast because I don't know. I thought it was interesting, but I think he thinks that time travelers wrote the Old Testament. Now, again, I don't just quote me on that. You can look into that yourself, but I need to find some of his videos where he talks about that because he just mentioned it in something I heard from him one time, that I think he thinks time travelers wrote the Old Testament. And I'm not just immediately going to say he's wrong. It's a pretty wild theory, but I'd like to hear his thoughts at least. So I don't know if any of you know anything about that, but he talked about that, about time travelers writing the Old Testament. Maybe that's why the Old Testament God's so mean. I don't know, but something to look into, something to think about. Yeah, Book of Jasher. Hey, Alpines. How you doing? Mentions the Book of Jasher. It's good to study, man. It's good to study all kinds of things when it comes to our faith and religions and all that. I've always been a fan of reading all this stuff. Yeah, Enoch's great though. I really like Enoch. Yeah, let's see what else we got here. Just scrolling down. Yeah, hey Mia, Ashtar Command. Well, I just did a video I did it about a week ago or so. I think I called it The Biggest Lie the Devil Ever Told. And it's like an hour-long video. But you can check that out because I cover the Pleiadians in there. And I think the Ashtar Command is connected with the like the Pleiadian light beings and all that stuff, I'm pretty sure, right? It's all kind of the same thing, isn't it? But yeah, I covered that in that video. And, because what if the Antichrist, the fourth beast, what if this thing comes down after Obama's destroyed the country and everyone hates Obama, we're looking for a savior. What if this thing comes down and it looks like the Jesus picture we've seen all these years that we think is Jesus, right? I mean, I'm just saying, what if? And we are your space brothers, and all that stuff. And, you are your own God. And, I mean, I'm throwing it out there, but check out that video from me if you haven't seen it yet, you guys. I'd like to see your thoughts on that. Oh, let's see. Hey, Lazar TV. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I do. And let's see what else we got here. A lot of people keep talking about Anthony Patch. Yeah, man, I don't know what happened to Anthony Patch. I had just discovered, I think he did End Times Matrix News or something like that, and he did some chat shows or whatever and was talking about things. He was talking about CERN quite a bit. And I had just gotten into him. Like I was listening to some of his shows every now and then. When I would be on YouTube, I'd see his stuff up there and I'd play it. And then one day it's like everything is gone. It's just gone. So, but people say he got too close, too close to CERN. I don't know. And people ask me, how are you still out there, KJ? How are you doing this stuff? I'm telling you, it's God's protection, period. That's all it is. That's all it can be. That's all it can be, because I pray about this constantly. Like, God, thank you for protecting me. Please protect me. Thank you for protecting me. You know what I mean? Protect my channel, protect me, protect my work, protect my, all the time. And I know a lot of you, thank you, pray for me too. It's God's protection, man. It's that simple, so that's the way I see it. So I don't know, why they took him, if he just left on his own, if he got too close. I don't know what happened, but who knows? Yeah, somebody mentioned Kajani up there. I like Kajani's videos too. Hey, Charles Pearl. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful. He's asking how South America is. It's really nice. Ave Marie says, no, it's not literally the end. Yeah, I know. Like I said, that's the end. Dun, dun, dun. There's a lot of different ways to look at the quote end. It's going to be the end of this reality or this thing, but everything works in cycles, right? You got the 1,000-year reign on earth. You've got the heavenlies. We got the whole afterlife thing that I can't wrap my mind around completely, but I love thinking about it all the time. So I know it's not exactly the end, dun, 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 but it is going to be the end of this existence, of this kind of reality. I mean, there's some pretty wild stuff coming. There's some wild stuff coming down the pipe. So buckle up, slide on your thinking caps. It's going to be a rocky ride for sure. Hi, Edmund. Says, KG, do you believe it's possible for God to change the course of the end times? Yeah, I'm not the greatest knowing my Bible scriptures, but I know I've read that. I mean, it's up to God's grace, right? I mean, I think that if enough people came together and prayed and, started making changes and things like this, I think we could probably turn things around, but I just don't see it ever happening. Um, you know, I just don't see it ever happening. I could be wrong. Some of you guys might know that scripture. I don't know, but I feel like we can, if we all came together and, the world really decided to change and turn back to God, that, we could avoid all this stuff, but it's not going to, man. I mean, the Illuminati and all this beast system has had control for so long. And look how many people are completely wiped out and just don't get it. And they're lost in this stuff. And you see what I'm saying? It's why I think it's going to have to take an event. It's going to take something big to have to wake the world up. And I think that's just the way it is. But yeah, I think it's possible. If we could change our ways, if the world would repent and turn around and turn back to God and, get rid of all this garbage and filth and all this stuff, then yeah, man, sure. But man, I just don't see it happening. Let's see. Hey, Effie says, what are your weekend plans? I'm going to another part of this country. I'm going to take the bus and just go to another part of the country, and I'm going to stay in a hostel or something out there. It's for a couple days just to see a different side of the country out here. Thanks for asking. I like doing that too. It's really random. I got a little tablet. Just take my tablet on the bus and go to these different parts of the country, and you're not really talking to anybody. I mean, I never see any other expats or any Americans or anything. Just a lot of smiles. People smile a lot. It's nice, and then I can use basic words. I can get around, but it's good enough. I like it. That's my plan. Let's see what else we got here. Hi, Corey Carlson. That's really interesting. He says, or she says, sorry, I'm not sure, but says, I saw a YouTube video of a lady who made a bunch of dolls back in 1997, and they matched Obama's family and a bunch of other stuff like that. Have you heard of her? No. But those of you listening out there, man, check that out. When I'm done with the show, I'll have to look that up. That sounds really creepy and weird and interesting. And I like the creepy and weird and interesting. I do like that stuff. I've always liked the bizarre and the unusual. On top of just covering kind of the times we're in, I cover a lot of things. So some of you may see that, or may have seen that video I recently put up. It was a really crazy news story about there's a guy that was dead in a car, and I guess he sat out there dead for a week or two or something until the cops came around. I mean, the whole thing's shady. The story's really weird. But it turns out, I guess the man's fiance is saying that he was an alien hybrid that worked for the government. This made mainstream news. KTLA, like mainstream channels, carried this. They're saying he was a hybrid alien that works for the government, and he had tons of guns. Excuse me, I had to cough. He had tons of guns. Like 15 cars. One of the cars was created to drive underwater. I'm telling you, man, this sounds weird. Okay. Yeah. And it seems like there's a couple other things that's really strange there, but yeah, apparently worked for a bunch of different government agencies and all this stuff, but just a really cuckoo, crazy story. And like I said, I put it out there. I made the video. It's like, hey, I'm leaving it up to you guys. What do you think about this? And we kind of covered a couple of the possibilities. He, some people think it's a psyop. He's actually a prepper, and they're trying to make preppers look crazy. Maybe they're trying to do this to set us up for the false alien invasion, or maybe the real alien invasion, which are fallen angels, or who knows? Or maybe it's some truth came out. The Dolce underground bases you may have heard about. Gosh, what's that guy's name? I always forget his name. Phil Schneider. Yeah, you can look up Phil Schneider. Apparently had a laser gun fight with aliens in this underground base or something. And this is from many years ago. I think he's passed away as well. I think they suicided him. Maybe that's a whole conspiracy with him too. But there's that stuff. Excuse me. Sorry. Coughing a little bit here. But there's a lot of that too. The whole weird reptilians, living in the earth and all that stuff. And some of this stuff coming out. I don't know. I mean, I always say the veil's being lifted and the truth is coming out in all these different ways. So maybe that's a part of it. But Who knows, man? Like I said, crazy kooky times are in. So I'm not surprised by much. But I will look up this Obama doll thing from 1997. Thanks for mentioning that. I like that kind of stuff. It's interesting. Russell Hall says Atlas Shrugged is an Illuminati book. Yeah, Atlas Shrugged, that's Ayn Rand, right? I don't know if you guys know who that is, but yep, you can learn a few things from Ayn Rand when it comes to the Illuminati and the beast system, things like that for sure. Yep. And it's still moving on down here. All right. Let me go and hit the more comments and see what we got. I know I missed some of you. Like I said, guys, this is why I try to do this every Friday. Okay, we're down here. Aliens are interdimensional demon beings. Yep. Yep, I've got a whole playlist called Alien Demon Deception. If you guys want to see some videos on that, on aliens being a big part of the deception. All right, guys. Looks like I've got most of you, I think. Thanks, Tetsuo. Looks like I've hit most of you, I think, most of the questions. And Indigo Father, what's up, man? How you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, I agree, and thank you. I'm not a Protestant. I'm not anything. I don't like labels. I don't like any of that stuff. I am a sovereign human being created by the Creator, just like all of you. I love the Creator very much. I love Jesus Christ very much. I not only accept him as my personal Lord and Savior, but I follow his examples the very best I can, though I am broken and I am a sinner. I do the best I can, and I can't stand labels, or groups or gangs or cliques or clubs. I'm just not that guy. I'm all about relationship, not religion, All right, guys. Tell you what, let's do here. Looks like it's been about 2 hours, so it looks like I got most of the questions. I may have missed some, but hey, it'll give us something to talk about next week, okay? And I guess I'll go ahead and close her down for the night. I'm sure some of y'all got plans for your Friday night. I don't want to hold you up. Go out to the dance clubs. No, I'm just kidding. Hopefully not. It's a lot of trouble in those places, but hey, anyway, guys, really, thank you once again for joining me tonight. It's always nice to have you here. For me, it's cool just to chat with you guys, man. I always think when I started off in YouTube years ago, and there were all these channels I idolized, not that you idolized me, but I'm saying there's channels I really looked up to that were doing really interesting work, I thought, and revealing things. And I always wanted to talk to these people, and I'd send them messages and comment in their videos, and they would never write back or say anything back, and they wouldn't even thumbs up your comment, and I know that stuff matters. It mattered to me. So that's why I genuinely try to reach back out to you guys. I like to talk with you and chat with you, and I can't wait to get the radio show up so you guys can call in and we can talk. Because once again, sometimes you guys have got some of the best leads I find on the stories I do. It's amazing. So this is a community, and it takes all of us to be a part of it, So anyway, I'll leave you with that, you guys. Okay, once again, God bless you all very much. Thanks for checking out, catching up with KJ. This was episode number 7, and we will do it again next week, okay? I'll see you on YouTube. Good night, guys.